Hi guys, welcome to another Divi Theme video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. We got a great one for you today. If I roll down, we got a little countdown timer here with a little call to action button. Massive sale starts today. Link the button, link the section to wherever it is your sale is. Watch what happens when I scroll up to the top. It's going to stick up to the top there. As we go down the site, it's going to stay there. And of course, it's going to remind people that your sale's on. They can click the button, go to it any time. Really easy to do, really nice little feature to have on your site. And of course, it's fully responsive. So let's get started. I'm going to enable my visual builder. Okay, let's roll on down to where we want to work. I'm going to delete this whole section. We'll start from scratch. Blue tab for the section. We'll add a new section by hovering over any existing section. Click on the little blue button. I'm going to use a regular section for mine today. I'm going to use 2 columns in my row with a smaller one on the right hand side. And we're going to use the great countdown timer. There we are. Fantastic. What if we go into our little countdown timer here? Put your title in there. And let's say massive sale on now, whatever it is you want to say with yours. You can set the time and date just down below here. Select the month you want. I want mine to run for about a week. Today's date's the 9th. It's got it highlighted there. So a week would be the 16th there. We've now got it running for about a week. Fantastic. You can adjust the hour and the minutes separately here if you need to by just rolling it up to where you want it. I will leave mine just as it is. And of course, if you want to link this to your sales page, down below, we can put a link in right here. I'm going to leave it off this one, but that's entirely up to you. Always best practice. If you're linking to your own site, open it in the same window. If you're linking off-site to somebody else's, open it in a new tab. Great. Well, I'm going to give this a dark background. In fact, let's make it black. Perfect. Okay, that's pretty much everything I want to do with our little sales banner there. That's fairly self-explanatory. Let's add a little button to the right here. And we need to check these on tablet and mobile in a minute. Let's get them both done and we'll do that. So I add a new one over here. I'm not going to use a button. I'm going to create my own custom button just with a text module. And let's say something like shop now. I'll put a gap between those two. Let's move this across so you can see it. There it is right there. Obviously, you're going to want to link your button to your sales page or wherever it is you need to take your people. Same best practices apply here. Background. Well, initially, I'm going to give it a red background. But when they hover over it, I want it to perhaps change color to a green or something. So roll up over the dark writing. There's a little arrow there. We can set a hover state. Click on the little arrow tab here, hover tab. We can have a completely different color on hover. Let's turn it green perhaps. Great. Well, let's flip back to our desktop state now. I'm going to make that text light in color. I'm just going to click on the little paintbrush associated with it. It'll take us straight to that text. I'm going to make it white. I think I'm going to capitalize it. Let's say make it 20 pixels. Obviously adjust to taste. I might want to make it semi-bold perhaps. Text font weight. Now with buttons, I like to add a little bit of text shadow. It just makes it stand off the button a little bit more. Perfect. Well, I want my button to be in the middle. So put it in the middle, or I should say I want my text to be in the middle of the button. And I like mine to be a nice big round button. To do that, it's pretty easy. Let's close up our text here. I'm going to go into sizing. For the width, I'm going to give it 150 pixels, 150 px. Make sure you put the px on the end. If you don't, it'll put in a percentage for you, which won't do the same thing. And obviously adjust the size to taste. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to put exactly the same thing in for the height. So we've got a square there. Now we've got a square, we can actually make it into a circle. But before we do that, let's go down to spacing here and push it down to where we want it. So I'm going to use a bit of padding for that. Let's say I think I maybe used 60 pixels last time. That looks about right to me. Obviously adjust the taste, you can fine tune with the little arrows there. And let's make this thing round just down below. We can do that with the border. Little change can be checked by default when you go in here, which means it'll do all 4 sides at once. I'm going to put 50% in, 50, and the percent sign. Perfect. We've got a nice round button there. Now I need to move it down slightly. So let's use a bit of margin for that. Let's try 20 pixels. I think that's about right. Obviously, adjust yours to taste. Another thing I want to do is, because we're going to have this on tablet and mobile, I'm going to stick it to the top. I'm going to make the gutters disappear on this row so the button stacks underneath our timer when it sticks to the top, as you saw earlier. To do that, let's just save our text settings here for our button. We'll go into the row. Now I'm going to go over to design and sizing. Here's use custom gutter width. I'm going to flip that to on. I'm going to take it all the way down to the left hand side. Perfect. But I really don't want this button touching. But what we can do here is I've got 2 columns here and I've given this a fixed width, so I can put this in the middle of the column. It should pull it away a little bit. So if we go back into our button there, Start tab, over to design, then sizing, module alignment, and pop it in the middle. Perfect. Just popped it right where I want it. Okay, let's have a bit of fun with this. It's fine as it is. It's going to come up here, it's going to count down, people can click on the button, do what they want. When it gets to the top, I don't want it to disappear, I want it to stick up here. But it can't take up too much real estate because it will cover too much of the site, especially on mobile. So to do that, I'm going to use the actual section, blue tab for the section, over to the advanced, scroll effects, I'm going to say stick to the top. Boop. Now if I save this and we roll up, that section is going to stick to the top here. But like I say, it's taking up way too much real estate. But we can adjust that pretty easily. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back into this row. Let's roll it up till it's sticky again. I should say back into the section. We've gone into the blue tab for the section, not the row. I'm going to go to my design here, down to my spacing. I'm going to say roll over this dark writing again. You'll see now that we made it sticky, there's a little pin icon there. That's not going to be there if you haven't made it sticky. So I'm going to take any padding away when it gets to the top by clicking on the pin. Make sure you click on the sticky over here, the sticky tab. I'm going to say padding 0. I'm going to hit the chain so we've got no padding on the bottom. Still a bit there, that's in the row obviously, and we can do the same thing for the row. Or we can just take it away from the row because we don't need it in the section. But of course it's still taking up way too much room. And also when this is sticking to the top, I want this section to be black in color. Really easy to do. Background's always under content. Go down to background. Again, if we roll over, we've got the little pin there. Click on the pin. Make sure you're on the sticky. When we're on the sticky, I'm going to make it black. When we're not sticking, I'm going to make it white. So if we roll back down, turn to white, stick it to the top, it's going to be black. Great. Well, this is kind of shaping up here. Let's save the changes now. Let's go back into our little module. And we really need to take this down in size. So to do that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of this whole timer section and just have the title. To do that, I'm going to add a tiny bit of code. So if we go over to our advanced, to our custom CSS here, module elements, we roll down. They've got a little box down here. It's called timer section. Again, if we roll over, there's a little pin right here. Make sure you click on the pin, click on the sticky tab. All right, 2 words. Display, D-I-S-P-L-A-Y, colon, none, N-O-N-E. And it's disappeared. Fantastic. Now what we can do, we can adjust this timer, shrink it down to the size we want it. I want it to stick to the top here, perhaps be about 30, 35 pixels tall, the whole thing. So let's just get rid of any padding from that row. Green tab for the row, remember? Let's roll down a little bit and go into the row itself. You see our time has come back now. I've rolled down. In the row, I'm going to go to design and spacing, get rid of any padding top and bottom by putting a 0 in there. As you can see, it's jumped up a little bit. And in the bottom, well, let's say that. I'm going to put a different color in our back of our timer here just so you can see it. Because black on black is going to make it kind of difficult for you. Just make it blue temporarily. We'll roll it back up to it's sticky. As you can see, our timer section is gone there. But I want to make this a lot smaller. So I'm going to make that text smaller. I'm going to adjust the padding at the top. I'm going to give it a fixed height. To do that, let's go into our design. Or you can just hit the little paintbrush associated with the title there. Again, I'm going to go to the text size. I think I made that text uppercase anyway, so let's make it uppercase again. I'm going to go to the text size. I'm going to roll over, get the pin up. And it's really important you get this up every time, or else it's going to mess it up when it's not sticking to the top there. I'm going to take that text down to perhaps 16 pixels when it's sticking to the top. I think that's what I used before. I want it closer, so I'm going to adjust the padding on this. So if we roll down past the text and go to the spacing, again, make sure you get the little pin up. Padding top when it's sticky, let's say 10 pixels. Now you'd think you could just hit the little chain and it would be 10 on the bottom, but that doesn't actually work because we're not displaying our timer section here. So let's uncheck that. I'm actually going to give this a fixed height. So we can close up spacing, just go into sizing just above it. And we want to go down to height here. And again, make sure you roll over, hit the pin. When it's pinned, let's try, I think 30 pixels what I was using before. Maybe not, maybe it was 35. But you can see increment up and down with the little arrows right there. Great, I think that's going to work for me. See if I unpin it and roll it down, we've got this when it's not sticky and this when it's sticky. That's shaping up. Great, well now it's doing that, I can change that background back to a black again. I just wanted to change the color there so you could see what was going on. Perfect. Now we need to do similar for our button over here. So let's go into the button. Roll it up to the top till it's sticky. I'm going to go over to design because I don't want any margin on the top here. And spacing. Here's our margin top. Again, make sure you roll over the little pin there. Only when it's pinned. I want to have 0 margin on the top. Great, it's touching there now. Padding, I don't need all this padding. We used 10 on our one over there. Let's use a little less on this perhaps today. We'll try 7. That's taking it way up there. But of course, our button's still huge because it's got a fixed height. Now we can give it the same height as we've given our little countdown timer there. Let's close this up. Sizing's just on top. Go down to height again. Make sure you get the little pin up. We're going to change it from 150 pixels to 35 pixels. See what happens. Great, but I don't want it sort of curved like that. I like the circle button when it's down here, but when it's up there, I want it to be sort of block shape. Really easy to do. You're probably ahead of me on this one. We can just go down to our borders below. And again, make sure you get the little pin up. Click on the pin section. I'm just going to put a 0 in this time. And we've got a nice little square button there. Fantastic. But we really want to make sure that this works on tablet and mobile. So let's just save our changes here. Let's just roll it back down. Make sure it's doing what we want. Okay, I've got a bit of a problem there. I obviously didn't do the pin on the padding because it's gone back to the top. And I know that was 60 pixels. So if we go back in there, we're going to debug this, go back into the spacing. Yeah, we're on desktop view. So I need to make that back to 60 pixels. Perfect. Make sure we click on the sticky here. That's fine. But we need to make sure we hit the sticky on the padding. Just because we've got it open on the top here, as you just saw, it's not going to affect it here. So make sure you're in the padding. And this was 7 pixels, I believe. Perfect. Just what I wanted. Save that now. Great. That's working perfectly. But let's make sure it's going to work on tablet and mobile. I'm going to have to do some adjustments, I know, to the size of the text here and probably the size of the text here. So let's hit the little purple button. I'm going to flip to tablet mode. That's okay when it's sticky. Let's roll it up back to position here. That will actually be round because we're in the builder. It's making it look oval there, but that will be round when we look at it. I'll check it on the real desktop in a minute. That's actually okay on tablet. Let's check it on mobile. And we'll roll back up so it's unsticked. Again, that will be okay. Yeah, it looks like it's just acceptable, but our countdown timer text needs to shrink a bit, and so do our hour and minutes. So let's do that. I'm going to go back into this module. Again, we can just roll over till we hit the paintbrush associated with something. Roll down to the actual text size itself. We got our little mobile phone icon there. Make sure that we're on the mobile version. And we can just slide this down until it's the size that we want it here. It's all going to fit. That's going to work. And we'll do the same for the days, hours, and minutes. Hit the little paintbrush. Again, make sure we're on the mobile. We are. Just roll that down a little bit. Great. That's going to work perfectly. So we've done everything correctly now. This should work. Let's save our changes here. Save the page changes. And exit the Visual Builder. Here's our little hero section loading. If we roll down, there's our little countdown timer. If I keep rolling, it's going to stick to the top. And they can roll over. They can click on the button. It's going to remind them at all times. Let's just check this on tablet and mobile. Let's put it back to where it was. I'm using Google Chrome with the inspector tools here. I hit my F12 key. Here we have it on an iPad Air. If we roll it up, it's going to stick to the top there. Stay down the site. They can click on it at any time. It'll turn green. Let's have a look on iPhone. iPhone 12 Pro. It's sticky. Take it down. Like I said, this should be around now. It will appear around. The reason it doesn't sometimes in the builder, it just doesn't recognize that width. But on the front end, it does. And Divi will get you pretty close, but you really need to check it on the actual devices if you can once it's published. Yeah, that works absolutely perfectly. So there we have it. There's how to create a nice little sales section with a countdown timer and call to action button that's going to stick to the top of your site as they scroll down the page. Really eye-catching, really nice little feature to add to your site. So I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And don't forget, if you have any questions, pop them down below the video. I'll do my best to answer them for you, or make a little demo video just like this one. So once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.